现在一看到有人说大龄剩女，我就来气。
Every time I hear people talking about us older single women, I can't help but get angry. I really want to shout, whether a woman gets married when she gets married, or if she wants to have children, what does that have to do with you? It's entirely a personal choice. Why should we be subjected to others' judgment? Also, I want to emphasize one point. Becoming so-called leftover women is not because we have no other option, it's because we choose this path. Do you know? If a woman really wants to get married, it's actually very easy. As long as she's willing to conform and please others, she can find a man to marry her even at 70 or 80 years old without much effort. Why are so many women nowadays unwilling to get married and have children? It's because marriage hasn't brought real benefits to women. Whether you're a man or a woman, as human beings, we all have the instinct to pursue benefits and avoid harm. According to traditional marriage norms, after women get married, they often have to adapt to the living environment of the husband's family. Especially if they live with the in-laws, they must navigate the complicated dynamics of the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship. However, many men are completely oblivious to these issues. They've become so used to the status quo that they never consider things from their wife's perspective. When a wife feels exhausted or mentally stressed and tries to confide in her husband, he often thinks she's being unreasonable and completely fails to understand her struggles. Moreover, after marriage, the social division of labor often places the majority of household chores on women: cooking, cleaning, taking care of the children, maintaining an outside job, and handling the needs of the in-laws, not to mention tending to the husband's emotions. If you choose to become a full-time housewife, not only do you have no income, but men might even think you're doing nothing. Additionally, one of the biggest expectations society places on women in marriage is to have children. Yet the physical changes brought on by childbirth are often ignored: stretch marks, diastasis recti, pelvic floor relaxation, incontinence, vaginal looseness, distorted body shape, weight gain, hair loss, and even postpartum depression. These are all realities women may face during childbirth. But what recognition do they get for these sacrifices? Society doesn't acknowledge it at all. People just say, "Don't all other women have children? Why are you being so dramatic?" With one sentence, you're left speechless. What's worse, after giving birth, when women want to re-enter the workforce, many companies discriminate against them because of their gender, explicitly stating they only hire men. Childbirth is a huge sacrifice for women, but such sacrifice receives neither the respect nor the rewards it deserves. So those men who keep shouting about women getting married and having children, you're not doing it for women's benefit. You're just afraid of being left alone with no one to serve you or take care of you when you're old. You want marriage simply because it benefits you. Stop using excuses like human reproduction or national duty. It's just absurd. If you men are so noble, why don't you go study hard and become scientists to contribute to humanity? Stop creating anxiety. We women have long seen through this game. We'd rather remain single than marry you selfish, ignorant men who are both poor and stingy.
我以前不知道那么多人对剩女有意见。
I hadn't realized before just how strong the prejudice against us older single women was. The discussions in the past few days have left me shocked, as if we older single women have become the target of criticism, and it seems like everyone is united in pushing us into the spotlight. It makes one wonder, what exactly have we older single women done wrong to provoke such anger and dissatisfaction? From the comments I've observed, people generally characterize older single women with a few key traits. They think we are too picky, that our standards are too high, and that we are too selective in everything. They believe that we lack self-awareness, always assuming that we are excellent. Some even think that we are too stubborn and difficult to communicate with. Overall, the impression of older single women is extremely negative, to the point where whenever this group is mentioned, people can't help but attack without mercy. So, who are these people criticizing older single women? First, some of them are married women. Perhaps they feel a certain sense of superiority when comparing themselves to older single women. After all, they have already settled down and seem to be more successful than us. Then, there are some married men. These men seem to enjoy causing trouble for older single women, perhaps fearing that their own wives, who were hard to marry, might be influenced by the continued existence of single women, especially in matters like sharing household chores and having children, which makes them anxious. After all, they know that finding someone suitable again won't be easy, and as they age, their opportunities diminish. Finally, and most commonly, there are the older single men. Many older single men may have been rejected by older single women either in dating or in real life, feeling hurt but unable to directly express their dissatisfaction. As a result, they vent their pent-up anger and frustration online, launching relentless attacks whenever discussions about older single women come up. In fact, older single women are not at fault, and neither are older single men. The real problem lies with the times. As a friend of mine pointed out, the standards for marriage used to be very simple. Having a bicycle and a radio was enough to start a family. Later, it was a refrigerator and a television, and today it's about houses and cars. These are all products of social progress, not the fault of older single women. Whether it's older single women or older single men, we are all in the same situation, and we are all products of this era. We shouldn't be hostile or critical of each other. After all, we are all in the same boat, and understanding and respect are what we truly need. Even if we don't end up together, we shouldn't hate each other because of our choices or circumstances. What do you think?
一说大龄剩女，很多人的第一印象就是
Many people, when they mention us older single women, immediately think of water cuts, and power outages, without even considering whether this older single woman is 30, 35, or 38 years old. It's as if they've been completely brainwashed by the internet. As long as you're an older, unmarried woman, you're labeled as water cuts, and power outages. These men don't care about what the woman has been through, what she has said, or whether she has achieved success in her career or other fields. They simply dismiss it all at once. It's as if as long as you're unmarried, it means you're not outstanding. No one wants you and you've become leftovers. Is this reasonable? Actually, brothers and sisters, not all older single women are single because no one wants them. Some older single women are not short of suitors at all. It's just that we're still looking for that better man, rather than just settling for someone. So we're not like how you men describe us, as water cuts, and power outages. In fact, many of the women in their 30s around me are not much different from the younger girls in their 20s, and in terms of conversation and demeanor, they often surpass them. So don't be quick to label all older single women. Don't slap the water cuts, and power outages label on us older single women. You men also need to raise your awareness, understand? Otherwise, we high-quality older single women will look down on you even more.
男生认为女生的年龄是第一财富。
You men usually think that a woman's age is her most valuable asset. But we women believe that a man's financial strength and assets are the most important values. Therefore, as we age, we older single women lose the age advantage we once had. However, we must admit that at least we, these older single women, were once young. So, what about you older single men? As a man, if you've never accumulated any noteworthy assets or wealth, can you really say you're better off than these women? Who's really worse off than whom? You men should think about this yourselves.
不知道为什么现在社会上对女孩子的就是恶意这么大。
Why is society nowadays so malicious towards girls? Especially those who choose not to get married. Recently, I have observed that in the matchmaking market, if a girl is unwilling to accept a boy, the matchmaker and parents will keep persuading her. They will keep telling her how good the boy is, how outstanding he is, urging her to try to get to know him, and even questioning her, why do you look down on him? These parents often remind the girl to face her actual situation, saying she is not young anymore, so why hasn't she gotten married yet? The most exaggerated case I've seen. Do you know how they persuaded the girl? They actually told her, this boy's future retirement pension will be very high. At that moment, I was utterly speechless and found it hard to believe. Why is it that in these persuasions, the girl's feelings are always ignored? If a boy doesn't like a girl, the matter often ends there, and no one brings it up again. But as long as it's the girl who doesn't like the boy, countless people will come forward to persuade her, and the same words will be repeated over and over, as if she must agree. I really don't understand why this is the case. I have a colleague who is already married, and now she is under tremendous pressure in life. Once she told me, if you want to get married, then get married. If you don't want to get married, then don't. If you can't afford to buy a house, just rent one. Don't burden yourself with too much pressure. Her advice is very practical, but I don't understand why so few people truly understand the reasons why young people today don't want to get married. The pressure in today's society is so immense, and the various challenges in life make it hard to breathe. Why does no one pay attention to these real issues? All the focus seems to revolve around marriage itself, And no one cares about the true needs inside our hearts as women. Especially parents, in order to make their daughters and sons get married, they often ignore their children's inner feelings. Why does no one consider what the real demand in the matchmaking market is? Why doesn't anyone try to understand what those women who don't want to get married are truly thinking? Instead, they just keep blaming women for becoming older leftover women. Why don't they ever talk about older leftover men?
就是现在有一帮人，他们好像默认就是骂大龄单身女性是。
I have noticed a particularly terrifying phenomenon gradually emerging. There is a group of people who seem to believe that attacking us older single women has become a matter of course. Moreover, they not only feel no shame in doing so but even consider it a source of pride. The emergence of this trend is largely due to some men who have become famous by attacking older single women. These celebrities set the tone, and many people blindly follow without thinking, not even realizing that there is anything wrong with their behavior. Such an unconscious group is extremely frightening, and if this continues to spread, the consequences could be very serious. Just like some heinous criminal cases, where some perpetrators commit crimes because they harbor deep resentment toward highly educated single women. What's even scarier is that now some people are framing the attacks on women as positive energy and justice, and shockingly, the audience accepts and rationalizes the so-called positive energy. This is truly alarming. Of course, there are also many who take this as entertainment. They think it's amusing to watch men and women hurl insults at each other and stir up gender conflict. Over time, this becomes normalized, and they see no harm in it. But I believe that as people with even a bit of influence, shouldn't we seriously think about what kind of impact we are having on society? Should we take on more responsibility in guiding the public? Instead of stooping to such baseless attacks on us older single women. To be honest, we older single women are of high quality. If we wanted to get married, it would honestly be quite simple. It's just that some men can't marry us and are jealous of us, so they keep attacking us.
会有人讲，你24岁才还不结婚，成大龄剩女大官，以后没得人要的的。
There are so many people privately messaging me now, and some of them are even being unreasonable. They actually say, "You're already 24 years old and still not married. What if you become an older single woman in the future? Then no man will want you. You should hurry and get married and have children while you're still young. That way, you can even make a fortune." To the men who say such things, I think, is there something wrong with your brain? Now, in society, there are so many single men in their 30s and 40s. Why can't you find a wife? Your own marriage hasn't even been settled, and you haven't become so-called successful people, yet you love to point fingers at others. In the end, it's just because you're getting older and you don't have money or ability, so all you do is complain and vent online. I see these people rambling on the internet every day, and it's truly helpless. Actually, it's just because you can't marry excellent women like us, and you're jealous, aren't you? You just wait. Even if I become an older single woman, I will never marry any of you.
真的是无语了，姐妹们。
Recently, I shared my experience of not getting married at 30, discussing my family background, my views on marriage, and some reflections on human nature. It was a conversation with my sisters, but unexpectedly, some men saw it and reacted with agitation and criticism. I initially didn't plan to respond, but then I thought about how some seemingly polished men in real life behave so poorly online, which only makes more girls feel uneasy and distrustful. So today, I want to share their comments and see these men's reactions. The first commenter, named La Bupa, said that children born to such women will grow up to be like her, psychologically abnormal, or even worse. I want to ask, how am I psychologically abnormal? Is it because I view human nature clearly and help more girls avoid being deceived by men, which makes me pessimistic? The second comment came from 049, who said it's clear that I was quite good-looking when I was young. I want to ask, were you handsome when you were young, or did you only become good-looking when you got older? This way of elevating others to belittle oneself is truly boring. I know my age. A man like you was unattractive to me when I was young, and at 30, I still find you unattractive. Next, a commenter named Xingren said that this woman is 30 years old and unmarried, yet still feels proud. To be honest, what does this man have to do with me? Even if I were 40 and unmarried, I wouldn't consider you, so don't worry. Isn't this a personal matter? I have never expressed any pride. I just talked with my sisters about my insecurities and thoughts on marriage. Could it be that this touches him so deeply? Another comment came from Yishun Lu Guang, who called me selfish, believing I like material things and freedom. I want to say, Isn't that contradictory? If you truly weren't selfish, why don't you transfer all your assets to me and be a selfless person? What a joke. Then, someone named AI Balian asked me if I have many pursuers and how many backups I have. I want to laugh. Who needs backups like you? Even if I do have backups, it has nothing to do with you, so don't worry about it. A commenter named Shangguan Jin said I am too silly. He thinks I am foolish, but if I truly were foolish, he wouldn't be so agitated. This shows he is actually anxious and doesn't want other girls to become smart. Someone commented on my body, named Yueliang Shangdeyu, questioning if I have a big belly. I want to ask him how he can tell, and what about your own body? Can you show everyone? Next, a commenter named Away said that my so-called high-quality single life is predicated on having enough money. He believes that among my sisters, how many are financially independent? He thinks we're all pretending. In a few years, you women will be old and won't have this kind of looks anymore. I want to say that even if we women don't have financial freedom, we will absolutely not be with a man who doesn't contribute to women, nor a man like you. Through these comments, I found that many girls can relate to my experience and expressed resonance. Some sisters even private messaged me to share their anxieties and insecurities, showing that they are also working hard to overcome their worries about being pressured to marry by their families. As for those negative comments from men, many of them seem powerless and somewhat anxious. I hope all girls realize that a happy life isn't just about finding the right man, it's also about continuously improving oneself and pursuing one's dreams. This is the hope I want to convey to every sister who listens to me, hoping everyone can work hard to better themselves and create their own happiness.
Some older single women are dissatisfied with many people online, believing that some are always discussing the various issues related to older single women. Actually, the logic is quite simple. Let me quote what a friend of mine who runs a matchmaking company once said. My friend said, as a practitioner in this industry, he would never say anything too sharp to an older single woman in real life. If an older single woman stood in front of me, no matter how high your standards are, I would never directly point at you and say, "You're just dreaming." At most, I would simply not charge you the introduction fee, and at worst, I just wouldn't take on your matchmaking case. At the end of the day, women rarely hear a few honest words in real life from childhood to adulthood. And when my friend talks face-to-face with men, he shows no mercy at all. Poor is poor, short is short, old is old. Men actually admit these facts themselves. So, I think having more people who dare to speak the truth online is not a bad thing for older single women. If no one dares to speak the truth in real life, and they're not allowed to speak the truth online either, then everyone will always politely say things to please older single women. What's the point of that? Besides flattery, what else is there? What good can it do besides indulging women? From my perspective, these phenomena actually reflect a sadness for women, because it shows that others don't even see you as an adult, but treat you like a child. When you cry, they give you candy to make you happy. Therefore, older single women need to keep a clear head, recognize reality, and not let false praise and superficial politeness cloud their judgment. Kind criticism may be hard to accept at times, but it can help you see the real problems and avoid falling into the trap of self-comfort. Refuse to be indulged. Learn to accept honest opinions. And only then can you truly grow, overcome difficulties, and find the happiness that belongs to you. Do you agree with my view? Feel free to leave your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue to bring you better content. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.